Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's devotion for March 20th. It's titled Slow for a Reason, and the Bible reading is from Nehemiah chapter 9, verses 9 and 13 to 21. You saw the misery of our ancestors in Egypt, and you heard their cries from beside the Red Sea. You came down to Mount Sinai and spoke to them from heaven. You gave them regulations and instructions that were just, and decrees and commands that were good. You instructed them concerning your holy Sabbath, and you commanded them, through Moses your servant, to obey all your commands, decrees, and instructions. You gave them bread from heaven when they were hungry, and water from the rock when they were thirsty. You commanded them to go and take possession of the land you had sworn to give them. But our ancestors were proud and stubborn, and they paid no attention to your commands. They refused to obey and did not remember the miracles you had done for them. Instead, they became stubborn and appointed a leader to take them back to their slavery in Egypt. But you are a God of forgiveness, gracious and merciful, slow to become angry, and rich in unfailing love. You did not abandon them, even when they made an idol shaped like a calf, and said, "This is your God who brought you out of Egypt." They committed terrible blasphemies. But in your great mercy, you did not abandon them to die in the wilderness. The pillar of cloud still led them forward by day, and the pillar of fire showed them the way through the night. You sent your good spirit to instruct them, and you did not stop giving them manna from heaven or water for their thirst. For 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness, and they lacked nothing. Their clothes did not wear out, and their feet did not swell. In the BBC video series, The Life of Mammals, host David Attenborough climbs a tree to take a humorous look at a three-toed sloth. Getting face to face with the world's slowest moving mammal, he greets it with a boo. Failing to get a reaction, he explains that going slow is what you do if you are a three-toed sloth living primarily on leaves that are not easily digested and not very nutritious. In a rehearsal of Israel's history, Nehemiah reminds us of another example and explanation for going slow, but this one isn't comical. According to Nehemiah, our God is the ultimate example of going slow. When it comes to anger, Nehemiah recounted how God cared for his people, instructing them with life-giving laws, sustaining them on their journey out of Egypt, and providing them with the promised land. Although Israel constantly rebelled, God never stopped loving them. Nehemiah's explanation: our Creator is by nature gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and abounding in love. Why else would he have borne so patiently his people's complaints, disbelief, and distrust for 40 years? It was because of God's great compassion. What about us? A hot temper signals a cold heart, but the greatness of God's heart gives us room to patiently live and love with Him. In what areas of your life do you need to practice being slow to anger? How does it make you feel that God is slow to anger with you? Thank you for joining me for today's devotion, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.